And with all their proper credentials, statements from the employment from their previous landlord, and I accepted them and they moved in. From that day, with the security deposit and the first month's rent, most of the time there was no rent paid after that. I had 13 apartments in that building and I had maybe 2 consistent payers. The rest of them had a rent scam going. Be fair. Make it landlord and tenant, not tenant only. Just be fair to us. Give us a chance to at least fight the battle that we're getting from the tenants who just refuse to pay.
Washington, D.C. leapfrogged London for the first place ranking in the world's best cities for real estate investment. We're talking about exceeding London, New York, Tokyo. According to reports coming from Island Press around walkable urbanism, Washington, D.C. per capita has more walkable urban space than any city in the United States. Folks, Washington, D.C. is it for investing in real estate. However, WETS found shocking news that you may want to listen to before you invest your money. Stay tuned.
Once you put your apartment or any property that you have, you expect the tenant to come in and abide by the promise he makes to pay his rent on time, and me keep the property stable or livable for him. If he makes a complaint to me about the problem and I go fix it, that's fine. If I find that there are unnecessary damages being done to my apartment over and over again, usually I'll ask them to leave or not to do certain things. Or in my lease, I usually have what I will and will not pay for, because at some point you know wear and tear, and you know the difference between just people just damaging your property. So those are things in my lease that I have that I will not pay for unnecessary damages. With normal wear and tear, I pay for. Well, it gets to the point that they don't pay rent, so then we wind up in landlord and tenant court. But when you go to landlord and tenant court, you expect the judge, as it says, landlord and tenant court, not just to take the tenant side, but also listen to my side of the story too. I find out in landlord and tenant court that's not always true as far as the landlord is concerned. And I find it hard to get my money because the judge really sides with the tenant. When can you fix it? And I tell him I will. I found out from listening to other lawyers in the courtroom that they have a question. They ask the judge to ask the landlord to put the money in, ask the tenant to put the money in an escrow account. Well, usually the judge will abide by that. And if the tenant doesn't pay, then the judge asks them to vacate the property. But you're 5 and 6 months down the road with no money coming in, the tenant living free, damages are continuing to go on. When you have a 13-unit apartment and 10 of those tenants are not paying rent, and you have to meet your mortgage, you have a water bill that you have to pay, and if your electric and gas is included in their rent, this goes on you. You're continuously paying bills while a tenant lives free. The lady actually put food out for the rat to keep them in the kitchen, to keep them away from her babies. So it has been that way. I've seen it. No heat, water cut off, lots of things. And I agree that those landlords should have been persecuted or whatever had to be done because they had the money to do it. But they just didn't. But when we started buying buildings and going to court, they just assumed, I guess, we had to be the same thing. And when you take pictures in and the judges won't look at them or they talk real nasty to you, and now tenants have gotten smarter. They know how to get people to call for a job. They verify your employment, how long you've been living with them, and all that stuff. And I'm not. Well, I guess they've been able to do it with big companies because I see them down there for that too. But when you don't have the resources to check things out like big companies do, you take them at their word, and then you let them move in, and it's hell getting them out. You do not get them out. I don't tell you what it is to get them out. Just say, I'll get them out of there. Going to court and finding out that the judge didn't listen to my side of the story when the tenants complained about the issues that they had. I tried to ask the judge if he would listen or let me show him pictures of my property before that tenant moved in. And he asked me when was I going to repair the problems that they had. But when DCR comes out now, you've got tenants who, and then you know what? They got their little, they give them lawyers, mediators, you know, they have people talk to them for them, free. And they tell them things. They tell them how to get around us.